So, we have patch notes for the Overwatch 2 beta. Keep in mind they did immediately pull down these patch notes, but it seems very unlikely they'll change significantly. I will pin a comment down below on any major changes that happen. But what we are looking at here, we of course have the new game mode, we of course have Assault 2CP being removed, 5v5, they've updated the scoreboard with some things, we'll probably do a separate video on that. We see their sound stuff, which they're very happy about, the ping system, some of the map lighting changes, all that stuff. We could get into that, but what we're instead going to do is we're going to get heavily into the changes that are either big, huge changes that you just need to be aware of that you may have missed, as well as changes from the late version of the alpha. We've done videos which I'll link on what the damage changes looked like, what the tank changes looked like. Supports didn't have all that many changes, so we'll go ahead and talk about what's changed since the last version of the alpha, as well as big additional things that, you might want to be reminded of. So the first thing, and potentially the biggest thing on here, honestly, is this 30% lower ult generation from damage taken and healing taken for tanks. So that means if you're sitting there healing a tank, and you heal them for 100 points, you'd only get 70 points worth of healing of ult charge. And same thing for damage. In the late version of the alpha, this was 50%, and it reduced the ultimates gained by quite a lot, by like 40%. So this is a pretty big swing, bringing it from 50 to a 30% reduction, which may change how things are thought about, how things are done. That's a big deal. We also see to the passives, we have another change. Supports now regenerate 15 health per second after 1 second without being damaged, and this is up from 10 health per second on the latest version of the alpha. So effectively, everyone has a version of Mercy's self-healing now after not taking damage. We know about, this is a more general change, all overhealth has been converted to green overhealth. There is no more over armor versus over shield. Some over shields feeding ult charge, some over shields not feeding ult charge. No, all overhealth is now green health. Green health does not feel ult charge, but does not have any additional factors beyond that, such as damage reduction like armor would have. Do remember, armor now is a 30% damage reduction, flat 30% damage reduction, as opposed to trying to do 50% damage reduction, but then capping out at -5 per instance of damage. So looking at that, green health is what all over health does. It does not feed ult charge. This is pretty minor, but there's a couple things like Graviton Surge and Flux that would have worked on, that you'd have in the past escaped with things like Ice Block, with things like Wraith Form, that you're no longer going to be able to escape with. You still won't take damage while you're invulnerable, but you won't be able to escape with all of those abilities anymore. Doomfist looks basically exactly like he did at the end of the alpha. You can check out the video that we did on some of his new techs there. That's pretty cool. Remember, he is a tank, does have 450 HP, and I will remind people that Power Block is not a shield. It is a 90% damage reduction move, which means he's still vulnerable to CC. Expect to get sleep darted, naded, hooked, all those things. Okay, as we move on, let's get into some real changes here. D.Va does not have the bulk that she did at the end of alpha. They rebalanced her health and armor a little bit, so she does have a in total bigger health pool than she does in Overwatch 1. But they've balanced down her armor percent enough. We can see base health has gone up from 300 to 450. Base armor down from 300 to 200. So not going to be quite as bulky there. She also had an extra second of DM on late alpha, and she doesn't have that. But in exchange, she has seen her offensive powers go up a bit. She now has less movement penalty while firing with her primary fire, and she has reduced spread, which is going to be a damage increase for her. So up damage and a better time sticking to her target, which also means more increased damage. Works out. That's her trade. We'll see what it does in the actual gameplay itself. Orisa has had a significant rework. She's that brawl poke hybrid now with the heat mechanic, stunning people with javelin throws. Looks like a lot of fun. I'm seeing some people quite enjoy it, but you'll have to get in there and play with her yourself. Reinhardt did get to hold on to his defensive increases that we saw, both health and armor up in late alpha. No real changes to him. Remember, he does have that double fire strike, that better controlled charge, fun stuff there. We knew about Hog's health increase. We did not necessarily know that his take a breather also increased proportionately, so it still gets him back half of his health there. It's been up from 300 to 350. Sigma's rock damage is up. We knew his combo was back. This is why his combo's back. He can combo you with a with rock left click combo there, one shot effectively. Be aware of it. Regeneration rate also a little bit down. They're really afraid of like bunkers and barriers, and they don't want barrier watch, and they're making sure they don't get it. That's fine. Winston, only new change here is that his ultimate cost has been increased by 10%. Maybe that makes sense. Hey, you now get a little more from tanks than you did in late alpha, but he shouldn't have too much trouble overcoming this because he does have that poke option now with his Tesla cannon. He can charge up his right click effectively there with that 50 damage at the cost of 20 ammo if he charges it all the way. Wrecking Ball, no significant changes, but what is new, or what we know to be new, is the radius increase. So his adaptive shield is back up to 100 health per target, and it's now going to trigger off of targets that are 10 meters away instead of 8. He also, of course, had some armor and health increases there. Zarya, we always knew that she was going to have some health increases. We knew that she was up to longer flexible bubbles. Those can go on either target, last 2.5 seconds. And then her energy decrease has slowed down. So she won't lose energy as quickly as she does in Overwatch 1. It's a bit of a reversion to an earlier state in Overwatch 1. And it's probably necessary because she doesn't have a second tank to as reliably farm energy off of. And it was very reliable to farm energy off of tanks in Overwatch 1. We knew about Bob's health decrease. We know Bastion is basically at a complete rework, can do some rocket jumps now, has that fun tank mode, has the third form with the artillery ultimate. Check that out, could be fun. Casty, almost rework status, but we'll just call this new ability status. Yeah, he's got a little faster damage on little faster deployment of his ammo on Fan the Hammer. Who really cares? He does have that sticky grenade that homes a little bit. Be aware of that. Magnetic grenade here has a bit of a homing property to it and does deal 131 damage. So respect it. But I'd say the changes that we didn't know were going to stick are he does get to hold on to that 40% damage reduction while using Deadeye. He does have the more fixed ramp up for the first 2 seconds. It's 130 damage per second ramp up, and then after that it's 260 per second in terms of how much damage he would then do if he pulled the trigger. This is going to be a little bit faster of a ramp up at the beginning than I think most people were aware of originally on him. He used to build very slowly and then faster and faster. This is a more steady ramp up, and it delivers a bit more bang for your buck a little earlier here. If you were to instantly pull the trigger, basically, or near instantly pull the trigger. You can also hold it for an additional second here. And then his ult cost is up, since we're making his ult a little bit better now. That seems fair, works for me. We knew about Echo nerfs. Hanzo is splitting the difference. He does 70 damage on Overwatch 1. He did 60 at the end of Alpha with Storm Arrow. Now his Storm Arrows do 65. Junkrat, yeah, they're destroying trap. It deploys faster. It does more damage, but it's only a root it's only a slow instead of a full root. That's life. Mei has had her wall nerfed significantly. Don't miss out on that. We knew that that was going to be the case, but still stings a little bit. Obviously has more damage with her blaster. And then she's also had her ult cost increase. This we didn't know would happen. Maybe this is a result, again, of them mixing up how much the tanks do, and they felt, no, she shouldn't build her ult quickly, even though some other people are going to with that tank passive change. We knew about Reaper's damage nerfs and spread nerfs, both of which are damage nerfs. Sojourn, there's nothing new here, but what you might want to remember, what you might want to be aware of with Sojourn is that her regular railgun does not pierce opposing heroes, but when she's using her ultimate and fast-charging railguns, those railgun shots will pierce opposing heroes. They'll go through them for some extra damage there. Sombra's effectively had a full rework. You guys have seen that enough times. Tracer has had her damage nerfed, and this is a pretty meaningful nerf that we're seeing here. But remember, armor has also been changed in a way that it's less effective against her. So still ultimately a nerf for her. She's not the must pick that she has been, at least based on the tier list we're seeing. Widowmaker, health up a little bit. We knew about Anna's sleep dart increase. BAP's changes are a little weird here. They've decided that his minimum fall off range should be reduced from 25 to 20 meters. So he's going to do less damage with his left click to people who are further away. He's always had a little bit of that problem. They're making that problem more extreme, maybe trying to make him worse in poke, trying to tie him harder to brawl. Hard to know exactly what's going on there, but it must be that because they're also upping his regenerative burst healing, so it heals allies for 100 health instead of 75. So they're trying to encourage a more play around him, tight, packed together, brawly playstyle. style. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that looks like what they're trying to do here. Brig is not a good hero with these changes, but you've seen them before. Lucio has ultimate cost reduced, so that's a big deal. That, hey, he's probably needed that for a while in Overwatch 1. Only hero we're seeing that on works for me. And then Mercy, because she's always had the passive that was, hey, she gets to heal faster. She gets to now heal a little bit faster still when the standard support passive activates after 1 second. So with a 50% increase, she should get like 23 health per something in that range. So these are the changes. These are the full patch notes. If there's any big changes, I'll let you know with a pinned comment down below, but you can check this out here. And yeah, let me know what you think. Does this look like everything you were hoping for and more? Are you most excited for the scoreboard stuff? Are you most excited for tank changes? Are you most excited to get to play it? Let me know in the comments down below. But that's going to do it for now, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Temporal out.